You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Happy Monday.
We are in
Assuming
April.
that's still the day of the week we're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Well, we didn't
cool.
throw everybody off.
Yeah, you know.
We could have made it an April Fool's joke, but we didn't. We didn't gamble that hard.
No, that was canceled this year, I think.
Yeah. I would hope so, although
Yeah.
some people did try to throw in a few little things here and there. It took me, there was one thing that I saw, I can't remember what it was exactly, but I looked at it and I studied it for a moment, and then I looked at the date and I was like, no, You're having at me. Screw you.
I rarely check online on April 1st because I don't trust any of y'all. I don't trust any of y'all. Not even a little bit. I don't want to get excited for something or bummed about something. Like, screw you. and this wasn't the year for it anyway. So I was like, nope. So I turned it all off that day. I'm like, there's nothing you could say that's weirder than real life right now. So I'm not doing it.
And what if April 1st was the day that they had actually found a cure for the coronavirus and it spread all over?
I just assumed it was March 32nd and then I moved on to April 2nd. That's what I did this year.
But think about that. How many people would have been like, the hell with this. This is bullshit. Fake news, blah, blah, blah. And it was like,
Dude,
but no, we're
whoever
serious.
would have been brave enough to tweet that, like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm that brave.
Which, by the way, since we're on the subject, I know people are probably tired of hearing about it, but you know what? This is life now. We're trying to do our best to have fun and find things that are not related, but we're going to have to talk about it because it's life right now.
Yes.
I've went on self-isolation is the proper term. So I am no longer going to work for a while. I do not feel that my safety was adequately taken care of. I chose this because despite everything they're doing, I don't care how much you clean. When the people around you are not taking it seriously, it's a concern.
Yeah.
When you feel like people are getting sick, which I have seen several people getting sick, and there seems to be a cover-up behind it, you start to question things, you know what I mean? Because you get two different answers. What's wrong with this person? They got allergies. What's wrong? What was wrong with them? This person says they had a cold. Which is it? There's a difference.
We don't know.
Okay? So at that point, I was like, you know what? If you're not going to shoot me straight, to hell with this. I got to bounce because I don't want to get sick. And even if I have the immunity for it, I don't want to get someone else sick. Fun fact, and I don't want to panic anybody, but I'm pretty sure our neighbors have it. Pretty damn sure.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, and they have a house full of people. So they are to stay the hell away from us.
Hopefully they're staying put. I just hope that's
no.
the case.
I've seen them outside, and you want to slap people because I don't understand how this is so hard. I understand we don't want to be stuck inside, but if we would have done this back in March, we would be done with it by now. You know. At least
I don't know. I don't know about that, but like it's interesting, right? Like how everywhere's doing something just a little bit different instead of kind of blueprinting off of the ones that were extremely successful. We're gonna figure it out.
I mean, it's just mind-boggling. Yeah. So I want to throw that out there. I will have more time to do my animation. So
Hey.
maybe we'll be on track
Get
this
that
year.
going, right? One,
Yeah, I was
trying
starting
to
to
look at the
worry.
silver lining.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll be doing that during my off time, trying to catch up with that and get back on track where I want to be. I feel like I will be making great headway this week. And perhaps you, Lacia, might get to sneak a peek at the next episode this week. So
I
fingers
want
crossed that I
to.
can get it done.
I'll probably have the time. So just let
Yeah.
me know. I'm becoming an old hand at this, not doing anything.
That's right. And you know what's speaking of
Get
which,
pretty good
I didn't even think about this, but we've been talking about changes to certain episodes that I've technically already finished, although they're not released, and I have put them on Patreon. So those who've gotten the sneak peek on Patreon already, if by the time they release they change, think about that. You got to see something that nobody else did.
Got to see it in action. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to see like the early drafts of one of these episodes because I keep looking back on it. I was like, do I want to? I'm going to change maybe just a little bit of this, or
Of course, you probably need to slow down because, like, you might be letting your brain get away with you too on things that are probably just perfect the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, and at least I have the time to think them through, which I really like. So if I can get a lot of these done and keep them as is when they're done, then I can go back on them before I release them and say, is there anything I want to change? Is there anything I want to tweak? And tweaking them is the easy part, believe it or not, because as long as I have the blueprint still in place, I just have to make varied changes in one little scene and then replace it. And then, boom, done. I don't have to redo the entire scene. I just got to hone in on that one line or that one action or something like that. So it's fixing it is not a hard thing as far as I'm concerned. It's just I have to decide, like you said, is it worth going back?
Right.
Is it fine? I don't know.
Yeah.
I nag at myself.
I know we're the worst at our own work, though. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, we're going to be the most critical.
I want it to be good. I want everyone to enjoy what they're seeing. I want to be proud of what I'm putting out. So hopefully we'll get there and everyone will be like, yeah, this is really good. At least if I get that, hey, perfect, fine. I like it. I like it.
Did our job.
It's not garbage.
No,
So, yeah.
never.
But what have you been playing in your off time?
So actually, I had to write it down because I was like, I actually dabbled in a few different things, and I'm like, I'll never remember any of it because apparently, the longer you go without using your brain, the worse it gets. So I actually, I did go buy that Flicks and Chill that I had on Name That Game last week. Like, it was like 70 something cents or whatever. And it was just like, I don't know. I just did. And you know what? For what it was actually a really fun little game. I know we made fun of it. And it still deserves all of the fun that it was, that was had about it. But it was actually kind of cute. It had like 5 very short little stories to follow along with, definitely trying to, snag the date at the end of the scenario, and then when you figured that one out, then it would unlock the next story, and so on and so forth. It's definitely not deep. There was nothing groundbreaking there, but it was cute. It was adorable. The little mini games were a little annoying, but they threw those in there, and yeah. So I snagged me a few dates that evening. I tried to screw them all up without even realizing I wouldn't be able to continue without actually snagging the date. So I was like, damn it, I'm going to play it all the worst way possible. But it won't let you continue the game until you do it the right way. So fine, go back and try to get the date. And then I also, I played My Friend Pedro. Finally got around to that.
All right.
I got it in a Humble Bundle, God knows how long ago now. And it's not very long, so it was kind of perfect. I had already beaten it. Probably took me about, 5 or 6 hours total to beat the whole thing. It was just fun. It's just fun. It's ridiculous. You kind of get to feel like John Wick. You got you jump through the air and you have a slow-mo version where you can double shoot people. And yeah, a banana is talking to you the whole time. Like it's just this crazy, ridiculous, rip-roaring good time about trying to beat the internet or something to that effect, And I recommend it. It wasn't super hard. Of course, I always just play everything on normal difficulty. I don't ever feel the need to, pump it up to 11,000 just to make myself feel better about it.
Sure.
But God, I bet like finding some really good speedrunners of that game would look so sick because of all of the different like slow motion effects and things that you can do as specials. And then I played a demo called Road to Nowhere, which is a new FMV that just says right now due out sometime this year. I'm sure most games this year we're going to see question mark. Interesting. There wasn't a whole lot. I think they just tried to kind of basically set up the story, but the art style was kind of unique to this one. So you could tell it was still full motion video, that it was the actors, but they put this dream-like haze kind of filter over everything, which kind of gave it a little of a like oil painting kind of feel. Like it was an interesting art style that they took with it, almost stop motion.
Okay.
So I feel like probably the actors did like the motions of like how you would in theater to emote to an entire room, as opposed to just on film where everything is kept smaller for the camera. And that kind of was how you would see them interacting back and forth. But yeah, interesting. I don't know a whole lot about it yet. The demo lasted about 15 minutes. So it was kind of just enough to kind of go set up the main protagonist for you. But I wish listed it. I think that would be an interesting one to check out.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I played around with some Anti-Hero. It's a game that's been out for a long time, but it's fun. It's kind of like a little board game you can play against AI, or you could play it with friends, but you just need those first, I'm told. And and that's just a cute little game that I recommend it. There's usually just like one scenario it's a turn-based kind of strategy game, and you're wanting to burgle houses and set up people to infiltrate it to get more money or whatever it is that the goal might be for that particular one. And there might be little like contracts for people that you could take a hit out on that might show up on the board that you need to get to first, and you have to get so many of these things before the AI does it. But you have to unlock the map by looking through the fog, and then it'll open up more of the board map for you, and so on and so forth. It's just cute and it's fun. It takes a little bit of thinking and some strategy on it. So that's probably been about it, actually, outside of your just normal stuff to play when you're passing the time. Yeah. How about you? Oh, and did I play the Resident Evil 3 demo last week, or was it this week? It's all blending together. Probably last week.
Maybe.
Because it's released now. But yeah, so if that counts. If I didn't say it last week, then that, and it was fine.
Okay.
And it was fine. It was exactly what I thought it would be.
Yeah, I didn't play that, which I should. But I mean, I know what I'm getting into. It's Resident Evil. What more do I need? So I'll get there.
Exactly.
I'm glad to hear. I will say this before I get into what I played. I am glad to hear that you recommended My Friend Pedro, because I saw that it dropped on PlayStation 4, and I'd been wanting to play it when it was out on the Switch. So
you'll like it.
Good to know that there's a hot recommendation.
That's right up your alley too, man.
Okay.
Like it's nothing deep, but it's just a good time. It's just a good time. Yeah.
All right. All I've really been playing would be Kingdom Hearts 3. And let me tell you, I would have platinumed this game hours ago had the game decided not... It did one of those things that all games do, that when you're looking for that one thing, that one item, and you know where to find it, and it's just like, nah, we're not going to give it to you right now. I know you want it. This is where you can find it, but I'm going to give you this instead. And it's like, damn it. I am doing everything you want me to do. I'm doing it all right. And they're like, here. Yeah, here, you can have this. You can have that. You can have this. Oh, okay, now I'll give you one. And then you come back for 30, 45 minutes later, and you're like, son of a bitch! And I only needed 3. 3!
Okay.
And it took me forever to get them.
Is it like one of those convoluted things?
No, it was just fight an enemy, hit one portion of its body, which I was doing, and then you'll get this gem. And I was like, great. And it kept giving me stones, shards, crystals, not a gem, all the things but the gem.
RNG for the win!
I was just so angry. I was like, why is this? Why is the game taunting me right now? It knows that I want those gems. And it's going to give me everything within that wheelhouse, but not a gem. Mm-hmm. And it was just frustrating. But I did beat the game.
Good. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. I'm just, essentially all I'm doing right now is clean up for trophy's sake. And there was a moment where I was just like, do I want to do this? Oh my God. You know, because everything that would lead up to the trophy were these little mini games. And I was like, God, gosh. So what I did is I watched strategies, see if there was anything that I was missing that could help me. Because in my head, I was just like, I'm going to screw this up and it's going to frustrate me trying to get the perfect rank. And all these little people had shortcuts. I won't say shortcuts cheating, but shortcuts to get me out of my head. Like there was this one where you had to go through all these rings and get to the end in time. And I was just like, so the first time I did it, I went through all the rings and I was like, I don't know what more I can do. There was a portion of it, they say, do not worry about all those rings. Time is critical. Move. And I said, okay. And I did. And boom, A. And I was like, okay. That's what I need to look for. Those little shortcuts that aren't necessarily shortcuts. It's just getting me out of this mindset that I have to get everything.
Yeah.
And not worry about that. I got to worry about my time. Time is critical. Boom. And it worked. And then even strategies to approach some of the other mini games where I was looking at it from one angle and they were just like, don't worry about that. Focus here. Mm-hmm. And it did it. So I got through all these little mini games. I was like, son of a bitch, I can actually platinum this. So all I got to do right now is just build up all these little things in my shop. And ta-da. I got it. And I got to get to level 99, but I'm like 3 levels shy of that. So that won't take long. So I just need to do a little bit more fighting, a little bit more gathering. I'll have it. No problem.
A few more stones, you know.
Yeah. So at that point, the question becomes, what do I play next? And I don't know if I want to start anything because I could probably platinum this tonight.
Final Fantasy is just right around the corner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want to start anything big. So maybe I might look into my friend Pedro if it's not that, not that long.
Definitely right. It doesn't take that long. And especially since you're much better at platformers than I am, I would anticipate it might even take you less time unless you want to go to a higher level, like difficulty. I just played normal. I didn't go too hard, or if there's one even after that, I don't remember.
Right.
I think you would like it. And the music is really good. I would say not quite Hotline Miami, but close.
Good.
I'd give it maybe a rung or two below, but like the music's pretty good. It keeps you wanting to play. It's pretty pumped. It's a good soundtrack too. So, yeah.
So I might have to do that. Yeah. I don't want to start anything because I know Final Fantasy Friday.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I get it. You just
I'm
got
zoned.
like this little 4 or 5 day lull where you're like, so close.
So that'll give me time to focus all my attention on animation, and then come Friday, I can play that, and I can give a solid review. See?
There you go.
All for next week. So there you go. You know what you're going to look forward to next week.
And hopefully all y'all probably played it, so there won't be any spoilers anyway. Some of y'all playing it already. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, that's what we And I did. It finally started downloading, of course, since the internet here has yet to become super giga fiber like they promised me months ago. Like he was supposed to get in December, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's not happened, but it's download. It's trying. It's been a few days.
It'll be between here and then, and it'll finally finish.
I mean, at least at this point, I know I can play it, but it's not complete. It's crossed that line where it's just like, you can play it now, but, there's still some other things we got to download. So
probably not going to run well.
Yeah, so it's up to you.
Just missing
whether or
entire
not-
characters or something like that. I hear the voice. Where's it coming from? Still downloading.
So yeah, by Friday, hopefully to God, it'll be done by then. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you, man. I really do. All right. So, some news this week, I guess. So what I've decided to do now, as we were kind of saying earlier, COVID's everywhere and it's in all of our news. So I've decided that I'm going to do all of our COVID gaming related news first. So if you're one of those people who are like, oh my God, if I have to hear about this freaking virus one more time throughout my day, you can just like skip forward a few minutes and then we will do our best to never mention it again throughout the rest of the podcast. But I feel like I know sometimes I'm kind of getting to that point too where you just want to like zone out on a content. But unfortunately, since that's the way of our life right now, it's getting brought up. So I figure maybe that's a good opportunity if you're like, oh my God, I'm going to rip my ears off. I'll skip like 5 minutes and I won't take any offense. I get it. We're all dealing with this in our own way. So to start it off, it's probably going to seem like some quick hits just to get through these. Humble Bundle has a sale going on right now. That the proceeds will be donated to COVID-19 relief. They have packages going on. One's $30 for a whole mess of games. There's some on there, pay what you want. Steam has a nice little package of stuff going on. So if you do have some disposable income and you were looking at buying some games, I highly recommend looking in those places, since now even your money will be going to a really great cause. And then you get to play some really awesome games to boot while we're all sitting around waiting for the call of what we're doing next. But Steam has done that with developers. So developers have been throwing their games into the ring. The Long Dark, I'll just single out. They're one of the ones that's participating where they're actually selling their game for 60% off. And then whatever money is made throughout this period of time that they have this sale going on will be donated to different causes that's going for either relief of COVID, food shelters, things of that nature. And it's a really great game. And at 60% off, I definitely recommend it. And one that we've probably already heard about and are all still mourning, The Last of Us 2 was delayed again. Indefinitely is the last that I could tell. I'm pretty sure we were all expecting it, since a lot of the major games that we're supposed to be releasing here soon have all been trying to morph into working from home and getting everybody set up for that kind of success to keep everyone safe. Their statement was sources outside of the control, which is absolutely true. So just keep following their accounts. See when they plan on getting it done. They are assuring us that the game is basically done. They were just wanting to do some last round of bug testing, which I guess does require more people than they can safely add into the mix right now. I'm just going to say I'll be here. I want you to keep your staff safe. If that means I have to wait, then I have to wait. We've all got plenty of games to play. I've been seeing a lot of people just like throwing their mind at, like, they're just losing their mind over it. So just calm down.
Chill.
That's all I can say. Neil Druckmann did later tweet that day, though. Look at it like this. This is just one more reason to kick COVID-19's ass. Social distance, stay home. So let's all do our part, and these things will come out sooner because we can kick this thing in the ass sooner. Iron Man VR was also one that is delayed indefinitely at this time. They both were, I think, mentioned in the same day. QuakeCon was canceled for the first time in 25 years, which I guess it's not a surprise. There was any kind of large gatherings that were going to be happening within the next several months. All of them, I'm sure, are canceled. One interesting thing, who now says that gaming is the perfect way to social distance in your quarantine. The irony I find is 4 months ago, it was an addiction.
Yeah.
It is not. It is a mental health disorder. But now they're like, you know what? And I understand. I get it. Like, they're just trying to, this is a safe way to social distance. This will take your mind off of it. You could still multiplay with people and talk and all this kind of stuff. I just think the irony of the timing of it all is just a little amusing to me.
Sure.
3 months ago, we all needed therapy. Now this is keeping us from it, I guess. I don't know. I just say leave me alone and let me game, but try to have it both ways. Let's see here. What else did it screw up for us this week? This was, I just thought, interesting. Game Ranks actually gave us some stats on just how much gaming has risen. Like, we all knew it. You've been trying to buy a Switch or anything like that, you see that all of these things are quite high on demand. But just the sheer numbers to me was interesting, which I wanted to share. So between March 16th and the 22nd alone, so that was probably the first week anybody, most of probably NA started doing a lot of shutting down. 4.3 million games were sold just in that week alone, which, as they put, is a 63% increase from the week prior. Okay. And then 2.74 million games sold across 50 markets. And this is, they were basing on like downloads, which is a 53% increase from the week prior. So I understand why. It was just, I thought the actual numbers just seemed kind of like, wow, we knew we were all looking for something to do, but it was just kind of crazy how that huge of a jump in just 1 week. Which I assume is probably going to keep doing fairly well throughout right now. And then Valve is auto delaying updates, guys. You've probably noticed it. We've heard a lot of Sony's been doing it. A lot of these are trying to help keep their bandwidth and servers and everything running because of this record-breaking influx that they're seeing on a lot of these platforms. So you'll probably notice auto updates are getting scheduled for like a week out, when it usually said like 2 a.m. You can still do it on your own if you want, but they said they're only going to auto update any game that you played within the last like 3 to 6 days. So just keep that in mind. Everyone, we need to calm down and be patient. I've heard a lot of people complaining too about, God, this download, blah, blah. We're all trying to do a thing. Just try to have some patience right now, guys. We're all in this together. It sucks, but you know, things are just going to be a little bit slower right now, and losing your freaking mind on Twitter is not helping. So, and it probably doesn't make you feel better after you've tweeted it either. Just saying. But I think that's my COVID news. So, there you go. We'll try to move on to other gaming news that is non-COVID related for the moment, unless there is one I missed that you wanted to bring up while we're in our COVID portion, which probably has ran longer than 5 minutes. I'm sorry if you skipped and I'm still talking. I apologize. But
I don't, but I do have something that I found today earlier that if people are looking for something extra to do, there are some streaming sites who are offering free codes. You can get like a 30-day trial of their services, like Hulu, CBS All Access. Shudder was one that I've been looking for a long time.
HBO is even doing some free ones, I noticed. Yeah.
So there was an article, and I cannot remember who did it. I feel like the LA Times, but for some reason that seems right and wrong at the same time. I don't know why. Right, so just Google
a lot of news lately. So.
Yeah. Google something like free streaming or whatever, and there was an entire list of all these services that are offering out codes that'll give you the service for at least 30 days from what I've seen. The only one that I felt was really kind of greedy about the whole thing was Stars. And again, I understand they're premium, but they were just like $4.99.
Isn't that what they're normally?
No,
I feel like I added it onto Hulu for like $5 or whatever it was. We added it onto while Ash vs. Evil Dead was on, and then we canceled it. Yeah, it was done.
No, they're just like $4.99. You can get it now. It's cheaper than what we normally offer.
Yeah, well,
and I was like, yeah, but everybody else is offering up freebie codes, so what gives, dude?
No, they'll get bullied into it. We're good about that as a human race. We don't get our way. Let's take to the internet. Let them send them all threats until we get our way. That's the way we do things.
I would definitely recommend that. I think even Philo is another streaming platform that does a lot of. I've heard of them, but I've never really looked into them. But I feel like they have access to a lot of television, like live television access. I don't know, but they're offering one. And damn it, there was another one. I don't know. Tubi, that's it. Tubi, I think they're getting additional films added to their library. Now, they are ads, like you'll have to watch commercials within them, but they are uncut movies, so don't worry about all that. You just have to watch the ads, but it's free. So there's plenty to do out there. People are trying to help out and give you more. I even watched Onward on Disney Plus the other day. Fantastic movie. I would recommend if you've got that. Check that out. Freebies. Theater movies. It's all out there.
It has been kind of nice to see a lot of larger companies trying to step up and do some things like that. And I also hope we're paying attention to how companies are treating their employees the other way when we decide to go back out there and hopefully be a little more discriminating about who gets our money. I did forget one COVID-related news, which was GameStop. I only bring this up because they did kind of change some of their guidelines now. Speaking of being bullied into submission, I just brought up their page here, which you can go there. And it's mostly talking to people who have prepaid or pre-ordered any physical copies that they wanted to pick up in store. They're doing something called delivery at door. So if you've already paid for it, you're actually going to the store still, but it looks like the team member will meet you at the door instead of you having to go into the store and touch things, move around, and be around people. And then if it's not fully like you've not paid it all, maybe you put down just a deposit. They're only taking credit cards. They're not going to have you pay in cash or any of this stuff, which again has been a CDC recommendation right now when you're paying for things that are less handled. So if you've pre-ordered anything, it looks like they're still going to be getting it. Check with your local store about this delivery at door, because it seems like you might just be able to roll on up and have a team member bring it on out to you, so you're not going into the store or anything like that. So nice. last bit of news. So it looks like hopefully GameStop is keeping their employees a little bit more safe, even if they're just not going to close, it looks like. So,
No, they're not.
On to regular news. Randy Pitchford made his way back into the news this week, which I'm sure everybody has probably already heard about. About employee bonuses. Seems like it was a little bit less than they were led to originally believe. So it was reported that employees will still receive their small bonus check, but as reports over the years have been kind of pointing towards, according to the reports, Gearbox already offers its employees below average salaries for industry already, but they always made it up in profit sharing, which apparently has always worked out in their favor. For the most part, it seems. It was unique in its approach, but it gave 40% of the sales once it was done back into the employees' pockets, which Randy and them had always bragged about how their employees were buying houses and just so financially stable because of the way it was set up, which at the time was correct. But with recent flops like Aliens, Colonial Marines, or Battleborn, the bonuses have not been as plentiful. So in a meeting last week, Randy told employees that the Borderlands 3 bonus checks would be a lot lower than expected, even with company growth, which is interesting. So it appears that the sales that was expected to what was actually earned didn't meet in the middle. And the game sold really well, but cost way too much to make, apparently. So upon further reading, it was revealed that there was a tech swap in the middle of production going from the Unreal Engine 3 to Unreal 4, which cost a bunch of money, and added a lot of extra time. And this put them in the ballpark of around $95 million in the hole before they even started selling it. Could have been more. But when asked for a comment, Gearbox just said, Borderlands 3 represents an incredible value to gamers and an incredible achievement by the team here at Gearbox Software. Our studio is talent-led. We believe strongly in everyone sharing in profitability, and the talent here and the participation in the upside of our games, to our knowledge, the most generous royalty bonus system in AAA gaming. Since this program began, Gearbox talent has earned over $100 million in royalty bonuses above and beyond traditional compensation. Well, I don't know how you work this one out. I mean, the forecast that was given to the talent at the Gearbox, and they willingly participated in the royalty bonuses. You know what I mean? It's just so tough. Yeah. I hate to hear them being underpaid. And I guess I had no idea that this was how their whole system was really set up from the beginning, from like a long time ago. apparently he's not really come out and said much more since, I guess a few anonymous people leaked it out. And it always seems to go to Kotaku first and then kind of sprinkles out from there. Ugh, it's just such a bad time to be hearing you probably had your whole year planned on the amount of bonuses you're used to getting, for that to just be taken away, especially right now, has got to hurt. It's got to hurt bad.
Yeah, and if you want to just know all the shady dealings that man's up to, look no further. Oh my
God! The more I kept going through it, I was like, God damn, this should have been the headliner. Maybe like there's just so much you could talk about Randy Pitchford, man.
Yeah, if you want a deep dive on Randy Pitchford and his sleaziness, go to Jim Sterling's page. He talks about
that's
it
true.
Constantly.
I did watch one actually earlier today that he just put out yesterday.
Yeah, so I mean, they have a love-hate relationship, hate more than love.
Yeah, they do.
It's just funny. And you missed your opportunity when you were reading his words to do Jim's voice, where he's like,
that's true. Wait a minute. Borderlands 3 represents an incredible value to gamers and an incredible achievement. No, I can't do it. I can't listen to him do it the whole time either. God love you, man, but oof, I can't do it.
I love it.
I know. It takes all kinds. I could just say
I know.
I do enjoy Jim Sterling. I think he does a good job, but sometimes I just want him to stop yelling at me. That's all I want, man. That's all I want. But who am I to talk, being a loud ass and all? Mm-hmm. But yeah, so they ended the article with how Gearbox, I guess, now is looking for ways to go public, since they've always been privately owned. Maybe that's an option they're going to take to try to bring in more money. I don't know. I just hope we're not hearing about all these bonuses he got later on. Third yacht he bought or something like that. But Nintendo in another lawsuit. Woohoo. But
what now?
This time they're being sued.
Okay.
There's a service called GameVice. They are now suing Nintendo. This company makes controller solutions for iPhones, iPads, other mobile devices, and they're trying their hand at suing Nintendo over the Switch for the second time, apparently. So the similarities, I guess, between the Switch controllers and the controllers that GameVice has created are extremely similar in the fact that they both separate and connect to the tablet on either side. It is currently seeking the legal powers to step in and prevent the import of Switches from Japan. They're claiming it infringes on their patents that are already in place, 19 patents to be exact. So if this is actually successful, it could also prevent the sales of the console in the US, by the way, seeing as how they've been selling like crazy lately, and it's still near impossible to find one from a legit source. Western sales might take a hit as well. I don't think it's time to panic, but like if you want to go look up the entire case that they're trying to build against them and looking at the two items, I don't know actually how this might end up. I feel like Nintendo's large enough, but if they're like really claiming that 19 patents that they already had in place before this went legally, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Okay.
Or if Nintendo ends up having to owe them proceeds somehow down the line for I don't know how it'll end up, but
now, so
they look pretty close.
Are they saying that Nintendo stole their patents?
They're basically the shapes of the controllers, the functionality of the controllers. GameVice is saying they already had and were using and selling before this happened. So that they're accusing Nintendo of it. They look just almost too similar to each other and the way that they operate. So
how has it taken them this long to come to light?
Well, this is the second time apparently they've tried.
Okay.
So I don't know if now they've gathered even more evidence against some of their other stuff and they're trying again, because apparently they did try to sue once before and it didn't go anywhere. So now they're doing it again, and this time with hopefully more power that they're hoping for, at least. Again, I don't know how it's going to end up, or in the legal world how that ends up working out, but
so hypothetically, these people had the controller. Nintendo apparently ripped it off. So one of two things can happen here. So if something tells me Nintendo will settle out of court. They'll find a way to try and settle this out of court.
If they're
get it swept under the
legitimately in
rug.
the wrong.
If they are, yeah, which, I mean, it sounds like they definitely are, then Nintendo's going to do whatever they can to keep the sales of the Switch ongoing because they can make that money back up in the long term. Now, if by chance, hypothetically, the judge orders that they must cease production and rule in favor of the guys holding the 19 patents, would that necessarily cut the sales of the Switch Lite? Because it doesn't have the Joy-Cons. It's just like a handheld.
That's a good point. Yeah, because that wasn't built to be both. That was always a handheld device. And I don't know. Maybe that one would be okay. Because like it on its face, just looking at the Switch Lite, it looks like almost any other handheld device. Yeah. I mean, move buttons around, color them different, whatever, what have you. Yeah, that's a good point. Because they don't detach at all, do they? On the Lite?
No, it's all one console, one little
Then maybe
thing.
that's a good point. I mean, I always just kind of assume Nintendo will win.
Sure.
I always just kind of assume that. I don't understand enough about all that kind of stuff and like the timing of everything. But if Game Vice is trying again, makes you kind of think maybe they have something, or it's like it's just that close. So they're like, hey, look, we don't want to be bullied because we're a smaller company than Nintendo. But I want to keep an eye on it because when I was looking at the actual hardware, they're pretty freaking close, man. They're pretty freaking close. Like close enough that I could see why they would do it.
Yeah, obviously we would think Nintendo's going to pull away from this, but we live in strange and new times.
We have no idea what's going to happen. For all I know, Nintendo will buy Game Vice, and it'll all just be under them. I don't know. I don't know anymore. You're right. We don't live in a real world anymore.
No.
Call of Duty has a little bit of a hacker problem, it would appear.
Oh, no kidding.
Warzone, Call of Duty's Battle Royale game mode, has been getting quite the praise since it released last month, but has a little problem with hackers. So you have some major streamers that have been playing this, obviously Ninja, Courage, Nadeshot, some of these I've not heard of, so don't yell at me if I'm saying their name wrong. Tim the Tatman, Dr. Disrespect, all having a great time with this game, praising it. It's just been so streamlined for Battle Royale game, best that it's ever come to Call of Duty, but the cheating has become way too much. It's apparently a really bad widespread problem with aimbots in particular, and it's ruining the game experience, obviously, for everybody when you're cheating in a multiplayer game. But it's big enough of a problem that Activision actually permanently banned over 50,000 users since the game's release. It's not been out that long.
But good.
Yeah. So they're taking action. Obviously, we had streamers who took to Twitter still complaining about the whole thing. I don't know if Activision got on it right away or if they're trying to say like, hey, look, we've done 50,000 permabans. We're working on it. We get it. So that apparently was super bad this week. I heard a lot of people talking about these hackers. Oh my God, 50,000 permabans. Stop cheating. Like, I don't, what are you accomplishing?
Because we live in a day and age where people cannot be losers. We have to win.
Understand, man. I just don't understand. It's a game. We're supposed to have fun. Although it does kind of make me smile to even see people like take to Twitter about it. Like, it's the end of the world. Like, no, it still sucks. But like, I think as a whole, our whole what constitutes as the end of the world is just a little skewed.
A little bit.
A bit maybe. where we're putting our energy towards. But my heart does go out. Like, that sucks. People need to quit cheating. You're wanting to have a good time and someone's screwing it up for you. And I totally get that. And it sounds like Activision is in your corner and trying as best they can to get rid of those bad actors. So, and congratulations if you're playing it, because people apparently love it. Like, I've heard really good things for people playing it outside of hackers ruining their good time. More info on the PS5 we got this week as well.
Okay.
There was another look. Mark Cherney sat down with some other developers and did a little bit more in-depth look at it.
Did he bore them to death too?
It looked like almost the same thing. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe he is just a cut out of himself, and I don't. Maybe I've never paid attention to him before. Maybe that's how he's always
Apparently
been.
not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But so how does it stack up? Well, let's just say Phil Spencer apparently is pretty happy with the results. He came out so much as saying, when we saw the public disclosure, I felt even better about the choices that we made on our platform, and I kind of expected that I would. I had a lot of confidence in the hardware team. So Phil Spencer for Xbox is like, bet we got this. And again, looking at them side by side, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago when we finally did get a look at the PS5, I kind of thought the specs were in Xbox's favor. Not like huge, massive differences for a lot of them, but as it sits on its face, yeah. And I don't know that I have anything new that people didn't know that we would care about, obviously, because I think 2 weeks ago is when I went over the actual specs, the gigahertz, the cores, the GPU, all of that kind of stuff, the memory bandwidth. Yeah, I'm still staring at the side-by-side here, and Xbox looks like the cores are a little bit faster, more teraflops in the GPU. The memory looks about the same. Bandwidth looks, Xbox has got a little bit more there. The internal storage, Xbox is higher. Series X, I guess I should say that. I feel like we all assume that, but just in case people don't know, I'm talking about the new one yet to be released. Expansion storage, that's about the same, all that. Both 4K. Blu-ray, all that kind of stuff. And then Xbox is still saying compatibility all the way back to the beginning of Xbox. So take with that what you will. I still feel like Sony might have it with exclusives, which I feel is their biggest strength. But on its face, yeah, it does kind of look like Xbox is eking out over Sony's specs here for this next one.
Here's the only thing I can think Sony is doing on the surface. Why they're not panicking, why they're not concerned, because they do have the exclusive package. I will say that that's going to be their strongest suit. Plus, from what we've seen with that hardware, something tells me there's going to be a huge price differential. And that could also play in Sony's favor, where people are going to be like, do I want to pay that much or that much? And people are always going to want to go a little cheaper if they can, if they feel like it's not going to hurt them in the long run. But you do have those diehard people who are always going to go with their brand.
I think it depends on who releases first, right? Because I feel like they always try to kind of time it together.
But will Microsoft have what they need in their corner when they show up when it's time to release? Because if they have one game and that's it, I mean,
that is something they're going to have to work on. Is more their own exclusive. And I've said this forever, honestly, that I've never felt the need to get an Xbox as a PC gamer. Okay, keep that in your mind. I am a PC gamer first. Every time a game that would come out for Xbox always came out on PC. I've never felt the need to spend the extra money. I'm not saying it was because I hate Xbox. Why would I spend $300 when I can get those games already?
Right.
I bought a PlayStation because they absolutely have games that only can be played on PlayStation, and they're good games. So that's where I think they're really going to have to, if they really want it to fly off, even for someone like me, and maybe they're not marketing PC gamers, because for your Microsoft, you've probably already got us in the bag anyway. What gaming PC doesn't have Windows? You have to. You want the DirectX 12, all that kind of stuff. You kind of are forced to go with Windows if you want to game on PC, unless you know how to work Linux and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'm not the market they're trying to get. Maybe they're trying to get those Sony people, only the console people. We'll see how they market it once it gets closer to time, but for me, if you're wanting to get someone like me, you better come out with some really amazing games that I can only play on your system and on Xbox.
And
I hope you wouldn't, because I enjoy it always comes to PC.
And I guess I also want to kind of throw out there too, I don't want people, I know that I usually lean towards Sony, and I don't want to discount what Microsoft is doing at this point, because do keep in mind, if we look back over the last year, they did acquire some pretty big names as far as developers go, so they have good talent. It's just whether or not they're going to utilize them, because I will always point back to Rare and what they did to that company, because they were solid.
You're not wrong.
They were so solid. You look at them in their heyday, and every game they had was solid. And then Microsoft got a hold of it and ruined them. So that's my only concern. They have an opportunity to really amp up their exclusives and really have some solid games, because they've got a great system. Obsidian, for crying out loud.
Right?
Start there.
Yeah.
My God. I mean, the things that they've done, it's just been outstanding. And now they are exclusive to Microsoft, and it's heartbreaking for me as this guy over here wanting to root for Sony, but at the same time, I see that they have great potential to have awesome games on their platform. And I applaud anybody who wants to stand behind Microsoft and Xbox because of that, because I hope you get great games.
I always want to see them both be successful, though, because I'm still an advocate for competition. Huge. So I always want them both to do really well, because if one does really well, that makes the other one a fight harder, and they do really well, and so on and so forth. And it usually ends up being more beneficial to the consumer.
And even think way back when, the Nintendo, Sega days, or maybe even like the early PlayStation 1 days, when we used to be envious of another platform because that platform had a game I wanted to play, but I couldn't play it because it's on that platform. So then you're kind of stuck in this moment where you're just like, oh, what do I do? Oh, I don't know, because I don't want to play that, or I don't want to buy it, but oh God, that game looks so great. So then that's where we need to get back to, that kind of competition. So
absolutely.
Maybe
well,
this
I feel
is the
like
time.
Sony understood that a long time ago, because again, I feel like they've had amazing exclusives.
Sure.
That's why I buy PlayStation as for a console. Like, I'm not one of those that I care what you play it on. I think if you want a game on whatever preferred device you want to. I'm not a gatekeeper of any kind. You want to play Candy Crush, you be that gamer. That is fine with me. I don't give a crap. Are you having fun? That's what it's about. But yeah, I hope they both do really well. But this is the first time I've ever looked at stats side by side between Xbox and Sony and went, I mean, I still expect Sony always will do better worldwide. Xbox is usually mostly like stateside, maybe NA, North America, that whole thing. But I mean, doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Regardless of which console you go with, they both look fantastic and an insane upgrade from what any of us have had thus far. So I don't think you'll be throwing your money away regardless. So buy what you like, but if you're looking at stats and you want to buy the better system, at this moment, that could change. It's kind of skewing towards Xbox a little bit. Just a little bit. I don't know if it's enough to matter, but we'll see. But on to some quickets. Got a few of those.
All right.
We've already been talking about this, but Epic has been giving away some great free games over the last several weeks. So I would just keep refreshing that page and checking it out, because they've been giving away some really good titles. We want free games right now, obviously, right? So go check it out. I got World War Z for free the other day. Yep.
I just remembered something. Holy crap. I was gonna message you about this last night, and then I decided, no, I'm gonna save this for the podcast because I found it hilarious. And And if anyone hears this, it might be interested. We'll see what the reaction is on Twitter, because then we'll know who's listening.
Calling you out.
I actually got an email from Google yesterday because I'm a YouTube Premium subscriber. They wanted to show their gratitude by gifting me 3 months of Google Stadia. So I have a code.
Well, you should do it then.
Yeah, I have a code for Google Stadia for 3 months. I don't see myself using it. So what I'm saying is the first one to tweet at Super Mega Crash, hashtag I want it, I will give you the Google Stadia code.
Interesting. I like it. There you go. We'll see. And then if we're next week and we don't have a taker, I'll just take it from you. Okay.
Fair enough.
Now I'll do my own little review on how craptastic it ended up, or great. I have no idea.
That's right.
Let's see. Sea of Thieves is coming to Steam, if that's been bothering you. It just says soon. So, soon.
Okay. Soon.
So soon. If you wanted to play it on Steam. Streamers who decided to stream some Final Fantasy Remake this week got met with a nice little wake-up call. A few temporary bans were passed out to some who received the game early. As some
Temporary,
game, yeah. As some people are aware, Square Enix was trying to do a nice thing and sent out copies of it early in hopes to reach people by its release date. Since what I said we weren't going to talk about anymore for the rest of it, it's been delaying everything. But unfortunately, some streamers decided to take advantage of that kindness, probably in hope for their own growth. I don't know. The company specifically said no.
I mean, that's
So
pretty
you
cut
can't
and dry.
claim you didn't know. So I just hope this doesn't deter from like future acts of kindness, because we are kind of getting graded as a group, y'all. And every time one of y'all does something dumb like this, the rest of us have to pay the price. So just if you got it early, keep it to yourself. Be thankful you got it on time. They could have just sent it late.
Hey, we did our due diligence
Just saying.
last week. You know, we didn't whip out
how
our
our-
early review.
It came out
So-
on the day the embargo ended, because that's
right.
what they're hoping content creators will respect. But anyway, I'm always going to have a beef about people who break embargoes and do stuff like that. I get it. AAA company, you don't think it matters as much with them. Guess what? They could copyright strike every MF and streamer if they wanted to. We've just coexisted nicely because they see the benefit in like streamers and content creators making content with their stuff and helping sales. But we're all stealing their work to create content. So keep that in mind too.
Hey, I'll say
We don't have to be allowed to play their entire game from start to finish for a live audience. Is all I'm saying. Or
and
on
I'll
YouTube.
even, yeah. I mean, my first instances with Twitch, it led to me buying certain games. It led me to getting on Steam. It made me feel like I was missing out on stuff, and I wanted to go get it. Yeah. So there's a benefit. I'm proof positive.
We've just been coexisting nicely. So
Yeah.
let's stop taking advantage of that kindness. I don't know. I could go on forever about that. But just if you're a streamer, I don't believe you if you say you didn't know. That just means you're not doing your own diligence on what your job entails. And so maybe look into all of that kind of stuff before you go live. Stop. Just stop. Anyway, nice news. Hideo Kojima was awarded a BAFTA for the Fellowship one, which is apparently one of the highest ones. He also had a nice little article about it if you're interested. You can find it on the BAFTA's website. I wasn't going to go into much detail than that. Just congratulations, man.
Absolutely.
And if you want to go read it, it's such a heartwarming little article about how happy he was about all the successes that's been happening. And he's worked hard and he's earned it. And congratulations, Hideo Kojima, for that. That's really cool. Riot will be launching a closed beta on April 7th for Valorant. As the game is kind of described as, like, I think it was The Verge I was reading on this one, described it as Overwatch meets Counter-Strike. So it's like another competitive shooter kind of game. How big it is still up in the air. I know. I just got to tell the people what they want, man, you know?
I know.
I know. It doesn't look like a game that I'm interested in either, but you might be. It looks like it's locked by certain regions, though. So Riot says if you also, if you link your Twitch account to your Riot account, when you're watching select streamers who will be playing it, codes can drop for you to also play the closed beta. So another nice little boost. If your favorite streamer is watching, connect those two accounts if you were not able to get in the beta, and you might win a code to get into the beta. So it looks like Canada, Europe, Russia, Turkey, and the States will be up first. And then keep an eye out if that's a game you were looking at if the closed beta starts to make it to your country. GeForce by NVIDIA. We've talked about this. Their streaming gaming service is reportedly saying now they will start actually getting new games every single Thursday.
Wonderful.
Activision, Bethesda, 2K, all those companies pulled out. There's still no word that they're going to go back in. But there's a few of them that are now like, hey, yeah, let's do this. So maybe that's good news to adopters of the service, that they're starting to get developers and publishers on board. So they're promising new game every Thursday. So
Wonderful.
let's see how that holds up.
See,
and let's see.
They're proving me wrong. I thought no one would talk about this anymore, and every week now.
For GeForce, or just
Force, NVIDIA. Who knew?
I know, right? Like, as soon as the first time I heard about it, then now I'm just like, how are you hiding from me this whole time? And then now it's always in the news. It's interesting. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see how that was the only one that I kind of was like, this is interesting because you're accessing your own library of games on the go everywhere. To me, it just seemed like a no-brainer that would work out, but here we are. Phil Spencer confirmed that Scalebound is no longer in the works. I know this game's been off and on. We've talked about it since like E3 of 2013 or 14 or whatever it was. As a refresher, if you don't remember, it was the story of Drew as he progressed through the world of Draconis, where he had his dragon friend called Thubin, and he assists you through the game. It actually looked pretty cool, this fantasy art style. Looked really cool and action-packed, even for someone like me who probably wouldn't be interested in it. I'm like, that looked like it would be a good game. Unfortunately, I guess it just never found its footing, and he has put it to bed 100%. It was canceled, then it was picked back up, and it's canceled, and now he's just saying, I'm sorry. And it sucks because, again, we were just talking about first-party games and IPs for themselves, and this gets canceled. But
this would have been a great launch title.
It really kind of would have. Go refresh your brain if you want to go watch a trailer for it that they saw floating around, because it did look like it was going to be a really good game, and I feel like I remember a good amount of hype being built up around it, and then, we just didn't hear anymore. Will Wright has a masterclass that you can sign up for and learn the art of science and game design. If you guys remember him from like SimCity, and he was the original Sims creator, and SimCopter, and if you played a Sims game in the late 90s, he was, I almost guarantee, was behind it. So if you know those master classes that you could take online from like different actors or something like that, he's got his own for a limited time now as well. So if you want to learn from Will Wright, go right ahead. And my last quickie, BioWare put out a job listing this week looking for the next most senior engineering lead on the next major title in one of BioWare's most prestigious franchises. For Dragon Age, are we getting more Mass Effect? I mean, we know Dragon Age has already worked. We know that's being worked on.
Yeah.
Is this person for both? For Dragon Age? Is Mass Effect finally coming back? It said one of their most prestigious franchises. I wanted to make it a truth or trash, but I couldn't figure out a good way. Because you're in the know. Every time I think of doing a Nintendo one also, I'm like, what are you thinking, Lace? Steven knows his Nintendo. You can't do that. It's never going to work.
I'm pretty tapped in.
So with that being said, I couldn't find a good truth or trash this week. So
That's fine.
I tried. I did. I started to write one out. I'm like, what am I doing? He's heard everything Nintendo. But yeah, so I guess if you're excited for that, I you know me, I liked the Dragon Ages, the real ones. 2 doesn't.
You did. I didn't.
The real ones.
I played 1, and it was just, God, it was so.
God, I loved it. I loved it.
Sorry, I don't know what it was about that game. It just was so exhausting.
You know, like I've always said, if everybody liked the same thing, the world would be pretty damn dull.
Mm-hmm. So
but it was one of my favorites.
I know.
One of my favorites of all time.
I've got
the original guys.
I won't call this a quick-it per se, but I just kind of wanted to drop this in while I was thinking about it. It just kind of popped in my head. I think we've talked about it prior. There's a Mortal Kombat animated movie coming out, Scorpion's Revenge. We may have brought it up in passing. I don't remember. They released a clip online from the movie, and I think it's about to come out next week or the week after. It's really soon. And I really wasn't sure, I guess, who the voice actors were. I didn't really go into looking for it. And for starters, the clip that they showed almost seemed kind of like a retread of the first movie. You know, just similar settings, but, you know, you got Liu Kang, you got Sonya, and you got Johnny Cage sitting on a boat, and they're talking about, oh, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And then Raiden shows up and says his spiel. So it kind of touches familiar ground if you've seen the original Mortal Kombat film. I don't recommend anything beyond that.
Which we've had a whole show dedicated to that. Yeah.
But the voices, I didn't recognize any but one, and it was who was doing Johnny Cage, and I swear to God, that was some of the most perfect casting, if there ever was any. Joel McHale is Johnny Cage.
What? Okay,
Yeah.
that actually does kind of match up for me in my head. I wouldn't have gone to him first. I'll be honest. That wouldn't have been where my head went. But all right.
Yeah.
All right.
You need a smarmy, smart-ass person for Johnny Cage. You got it. Boom.
So do you think he's like, did he buff up at all? I don't think he was ever unfit, but he's definitely a slender fella.
Yeah, but he's fit. But this is animated, so you just need his
voice. Your voice. You did just say that. Yeah. You did just say that. Never mind. Never mind. In my head, I still was like, regular movie. Got it. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. No, that works out perfect then. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I liked it. GG. Anyway, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Actually, the next thing I've got for us is Name That Game.
Woo! And stop.
One of these days, we'll find some cool merch or something to sell you again. But,
And you know what? Whenever we decide, if we ever decide, because we've been talking about it off and on, if we ever decide to start dancing or doing videos so you can see us dancing, because we're always dancing. It's not like there's silence here. We are dancing to the music.
We are dancing. I would say I have proof, but I don't record these.
Yeah.
Video. I like showing up, not just being awake and I'm ready.
maybe here. Well, you know what? We're gonna throw out another one for the Twitters. Hit us up on Twitter at Super Mega Crash # I want video.
Ooh,
and then we'll see.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm giving you guys all these things
I
to do
could
this
just do
week.
it like normal, and I would promise not to even. You guys could just see how it happens in my pajamas and glasses sometimes too. And I'll throw that out there because I have most of my community that's like, "Ooh, I've never seen you in your glasses." Well, maybe now you could # lace in glasses. I don't know.
Look
at all this. Drop them all, man. If nothing else, add a person for even playing along. But with Name That Game this week, let's see. Your first game.
Mm-hmm.
Having made his way to the house, which seemed long ago abandoned, in order to steal from it all items of value, the main character understands that the house is not so abandoned. Once inside the house, it is completely locked inside. But there are a couple of ways to get out of it. Explore every corner of the house. Perhaps somewhere there are things hidden from the eyes. You'll have to move stealthily. Collect items and keys. Get out of the house while taking with you as much value as possible. Move quietly. They hear and see you. Is this game A, the house has eyes? B, don't play with dolls? C, keys to the castle? Or D, the main character will remember that?
For a moment, I thought this was a game about being a cat burglar. But
yeah, it took me a couple reads and watching the trailer to go, okay. To make the connection for the name they came up with. Sort of.
Oh, for the name they came up with. Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to tell you the name of the game.
Sure. I don't know. I feel like A kind of has a nice air to it.
The house
has eyes.
It really does.
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is B. Don't play with dolls.
That's horseshit.
I tried to find out in the trailer the thing, and I don't.
Are there any dolls?
In the trailer. So that's what I was waiting for in the description. They kept saying the closest they got was move quietly. They hear and see you. So I was like, who? And then I had to watch the trailer. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, if you're not even going to describe it as such, it's really weird.
I like yours
really
better.
Weird.
Go ahead.
I did too.
Yeah.
It's not normally that I think mine's better, but
It is. It is. It's much
Maybe
better.
next week you need to do it so people can be all like, "Oh, I remember when they were good." Anyway, your next game. Dear humans, I wanted to let you know that I am better than you. You are all doomed, and this game is a celebration of my superiority. Why should you even play this? To entertain me. I made this game for my personal entertainment. Oh, come on, don't worry. I'll totally make you feel like you stand a chance. Humans get frustrated so easily. It's pathetic. What is this game? It's a skill-based platformer, a game about a meaningless little snail trying to defeat a true god, which is me. What else can you expect from this game? Well, after 3 hours of quality time with me, an exclusive offer, I might add. You get precise and fast-paced action platforming, lots of dying, lots of being made fun of, the illusion of mastery and accomplishment, the hope of eventually beating me, and a fun little mystery to solve. The meaning of life? I could barely wait for you to figure out what is going on here. See you on the other side. Squid. Signed, Squid.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know how to, best wishes.
Yeah.
It's
Kind of weird.
With
just
love.
Squid. Just blurt that out at
After
people.
it came out of my mouth and made it sound like I just called you a squid. But is this game A, will you snail? B, squid is gonna get ya? C, are you that slow? Or D, beat me, human? This would actually look kind of cute too.
B and D seem disposable.
You want to go, squid is gonna get ya, squid is gonna get ya. No, just me? Okay.
I was sitting there thinking the other way. Squid gonna get you. Squid gonna get it to you.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. I'm going with A again. I don't know why.
You're going to go with A? And the answer is A. Will you snail? I almost wanted to take that part of it out, but I was like, no, don't take away all of them. All of the things that could help him out. All right, your last game. So we're 1-1. Bobs have been scouring the universe for food for millions of years. For the most part, food had been plentiful and easy to acquire. Planets made entirely of cheese were abundant, and finding one could leave a bob full for a lifetime. However, time has passed and food has become scarce. Greedy Bobs so carelessly ate 2 or 3 cheese planets at a time, and now these cheese planets are as rare to find as a Bob with a full stomach.
Damn it, Bob.
Bobs! All these Bobs! But they're unable to stumble upon one of the last extremely rare cheese havens, and they were forced out into the unknown. Now they traverse as many planets as they can in hopes of finding a scrap of food to survive. Unfortunately, their trips are dangerous and the planets are treacherous. Finding food is not like it used to be. Is this game A, Gouda Bob, B, Bob eats a moon, C, Bob was hungry, D, bobbin for Brie?
D is clever. What were B and C again? Those are the two that caught my attention.
B is Bob eats a moon, and C is Bob was hungry.
Bob was hungry, C.
And the answer is C. I didn't trick you this week. Bob was hungry. I tried to do so many cheese puns, and I had to pull back. So I'm like, no, he's going to catch on to that one. I had so many.
I had
so many cheese puns.
After
Munchin for mozzarella. And then
Keep
you had
going.
the bobbin for brie. Mm-hmm. And then, the search for Swiss. There was so much you could have done. Challenging for cheddar.
There you go. Okay.
I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, I had to turn my brain down a notch because after the first one, I was like, no, that's too clever. I need to go dumber. That's what the developers are doing.
I couldn't help myself. Like, I just had to put
Bob
it in
was
there.
hungry.
Bob was hungry, exactly.
Bob was hungry.
That's why I tried with Bob Eats a Moon. I'm like, that sounds boring too. But that one did not look as fun.
And we're shit on this game.
I gotta
don't know,
quit
you
doing
guys.
these because I keep like convincing myself to buy the Name That Game games now, and that's maybe that should be a segment. So I actually played the Name That game. They're usually like 49 cents in the Steam bin, you know what I mean? I could just buy a bunch of them.
It's a segment for your show, you know.
There you go.
Streaming Name That Game.
Yeah. Or if you have suggestions for one, let me know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our headliner this week tried to do it a little bit more on a lighthearted side. So obviously, again, most people, we've seen uptick in gaming lately. And maybe some of you are out there stuck at home and wanted to start doing some gaming, but maybe you've never been a gamer. Maybe you just haven't done it in so long, you're dusty and don't know how to get started again. And I thought it would be fun. Steven said he had a few as well, maybe to discuss back and forth. Some fun starter games that should not overwhelm you or make you feel like a dipshit when you're trying to sit down and play. I picked some ones that I think are very fun. I kept the mechanics nice and easy. And then some of them you can kick it up a notch if you're like, I'm pretty seasoned, but I haven't done it in a while, and this could jump right back in. So, and now that we know, hey, staying at home and playing video games is healthy for you, let's dive in. And so whatever your reason that you wanted to start playing games, I just picked up some ones that were that are easy to learn, fun to play. Yes, it might be daunting from all the controller buttons. It's even the same for me. Maybe now you'll understand what WASD on the PC keyboard means after we're done with today. And I understand a lot of the people listening are probably seasoned gamers, but maybe you have someone in your life who wants to get started. Kick them the podcast. Tell them to listen to the end. We've got some good games here. So the first one I picked is Civilization.
Okay.
I think that one is a lot of fun. Its point and click mechanics make it very easy to understand to how to actually play the game. In most any Civilization game, you are playing as a smaller tribe of people and trying to take yourself into a more advanced, more technological based society. You can invade other countries to take over, or you can work with the world leaders to try to come together for a greater good or evil, whatever you prefer. It is a turn-based strategy game. So what do I mean by turn-based? You get a few tries at movements, make your plays, how you want to accomplish whatever your end goal is. And then once you've finished your turn, the AI will kick over and you can watch the other leaders make their turns and what they're planning on doing to try to counteract you, take over for you, whatever you're trying to do. There are grids that are laid out before you, which has conditions on movements on how far you can go each turn. You can earn more upgrades for your armies, instill religion to your people if you like, take that religion away. But this game is a great one to try out if you wanted to do something very casual and it won't intimidate you by the gameplay itself since it's fairly simple. And you can find older versions of this game for very cheap these days. And even the newest one is not that expensive anymore since it's been out a little over a year even. And if you're new to PC gaming, remember, Steam also does have a refund system. I never recommend taking advantage of this, but if you're newer, you literally cannot stand the game that you are playing and you play it for less than 2 hours or 2 weeks, whichever happens first, you can still get a refund. So if you absolutely hate it, by all means, but don't just do it if you beat a game in less than 2 hours and be that jerk who takes the money back from the developer just because you beat it early. And yes, I'm calling you a jerk if you're a person who does that. So that's my first suggestion.
Okay.
It gets you thinking. There's strategy involved. And honestly, you'll forget how much time you've been sitting on it once you get into it. It's one of those games. So if you're looking for something that can, instead of waking up just waiting to go back to bed, which is what I kind of feel like I'm doing most days these days, there's a nice time sink. And then the sun's gone and you have no idea what's happening and you can go back to bed. So you might also consider any simulation game, I would say. Okay. For example, any simulation game. I think we have people. We have PC building simulator games. We have walking simulator games. We have truck simulator games. We have farm simulator games. Hell, we even have hand simulator games. So the longevity of these games just really depends on if you find it fun to drive that truck for 1,000 miles and stare at the road, or maybe some scenery as it passes you by. Maybe farming corn and beans and learning how to run a successful farm might be in your blood. I know you laugh now, but I've lost many hours in what seemingly seemed like an ignorant waste of time and end up being pretty proud of that trek. But right now, you can find most of these games pretty cheap because, who's counting the days or looking at a clock anymore? So why not just lose yourself in a fictional truck? And actually, there are quite a bit of those. And again, those mechanics are just super simple and easy. Console, PC, doesn't matter. It's usually just let me move my character into a thing, hit a button to get into the thing, and then watch thing happen, and then try not to die. That's usually what a simulator is. But I do recommend those. I think American Truck Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, those are fun. For me, not for very long, because it literally is just like driving a truck down a road. But if you have VR by any chance, those can be a little bit more fun. And Penn and Teller has one where you can just drive a bus through the desert for 2 days.
4 hours.
Yeah. And literally, that is what you do. You're driving a bus through the desert to your destination and back.
Which is hilarious.
But easy. It's easy.
But easy.
I've never been able to finish it. Like, it's too mind numbing for me halfway through, but I know people who have, and I'm still not sure they were convinced it was worth it, but they get to say they finished it. So maybe it's just the braggadocio.
I say if you can find something to do, maybe like you need to listen to a podcast and you don't know what else to do, sit down with that game, drop the bus, listen to your podcast.
There you go. Because I used to I used to listen to all my podcasts on the way to work. That's not happening. So you're right. Maybe I need to just put myself back in the frame of mind of I'm heading somewhere and listening to my podcast. Feel like you're outside again.
Yeah, I've got to figure that out too. Damn it.
We'll talk. I'm about 3 weeks in. I can give you some pointers if you like.
Okay.
Well, overall a month and a half, but legally I'm starting my 3rd week. But piggybacking off that last one, Stardew Valley. What another really nice, fun, easy to pick up starting game. The pixel art is adorable. It's an art style or pixel art style RPG, has a top-down perspective. Kind of you move, it'll probably look like a platformer as you're moving off to the side. The next screen pops up. But you do get a lot out of this game, though. You can create your little pixel farmer. And you dive into the loose story that they've created for you. Your grandfather has left the farm to you, and it's up to you how to build it up. Maybe you want to grow veggies and sell them to the nice people in town. Or maybe you'd rather farm cattle and name all your little chickadees as family members and take good care of them. Remember that aunt you always called a hog? Now you can! Name her that pig name. Or maybe you can gift that homegrown flower and present it as a gift to the person you want to woo. Or maybe you like to fish. I hear people like that. Maybe you want to make a winery. Maybe you want to build a brewery. The choice is yours. Literally, you can do all those things. The game spans over several seasons, and you can watch your farm grow and the life you may have created with a significant other. You can rebuild the town to its former glory and be king or queen of the valley. The controls are extremely simple to catch on to also, whether you're on console or PC. This also is now since implemented a multiplayer. So if you would like to build your farm with friends, you can co-op with them. I assume people have collected those over the years, right? Friends?
Yeah.
I think you can at least have 3. So you might want to get involved with them. Fun way to stay socially distant while also connecting with the people in your life. I recommend Stardew Valley. A lot, like if you're looking for one that you could sink into, maybe for the duration, that one absolutely has many hours of things to collect and do, and it's fun. Stop me if you have one too.
Oh, well, I do, but I've been waiting for you to do a little pass-off.
Yeah, I was like, I look at Steven when he looks comfortable. To me, I go, oh, keep talking.
No.
And then if I see him sit up, then I'm like, stop. So I was like, I don't want lulls. So I'm like, gotcha.
Pass me the ball.
Jump right on. So Steven, which fun, easy game do you think someone should start a game on?
Okay, well, if you want something very simple mechanics, something that I just found, it's a very short game, but it's so relaxing. It's so nice. Donut County is a very lovely game that's mechanics are so simple, and it requires just the smallest amount of strategy, because obviously you've got to figure this out, but anybody can do it. You're just a hole, and you've just got to drop stuff in the hole. And then as things go in the hole gets bigger. So then you can start taking on larger objects. So you just have to make sure you position everything under the hole and eat whatever's on the ground and make the hole bigger. That's it.
Kind of like a hungry hippo situation. Yeah.
You just consume everything in the hole. Everything on the screen that you can. Everything that'll fit. And if it can't fit, go find something to get in there and then come back. Come back to it. And it's just, I can't explain how relaxing and fun it was for something so simple.
I know, right? Yeah.
It's just so...
Didn't we play that at a PAX, too? And we were
may
like,
have,
how did we get so addicted to this? Because it's just so simple. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's... I don't know. I there's a word I'm looking for in my brain, and I just can't find it. But it's just satisfying. That's the word. There's some satisfaction in it for some reason. You're just so satisfying to just do that and be like, I got them all. Yeah. So there's nothing to it. It's literally that, moving the hole around and just and anyone can play it. So that would definitely be one that I could recommend immediately if you wanted something simple, quick, and easy for someone to play who's never really played a video game or maybe been too intimidated by it. It'll be everything they need in just a split second. So easy, so simple.
And might I add, I have been hearing in my research that older people tend to gravitate towards games like that too. Like my mom used to always like the bubble popper games or something like that. So if you have like a grandparent who keeps wanting to wander out of the house, be like, hey, maybe look at Donut County and maybe they'll be nice and happy for a really long time.
And it's a gorgeous
it really
looking
is a good game.
I think a lot of if I know this is going to sound terrible, I don't mean this in any way. The bright colors, I think keeps me engaged in a way that I do kind of get to this point sometimes where you play a game, you start off and you're in this bright, wonderful world, and then suddenly it just goes straight into darkness. And it's like, man, this was looking so great, and then you just put me into this dark, drab, colorless world. I liked back out here. I was more engaged out here in the colorful world. So this is all colorful. They actually do have a scene, like it'll cut away to some story bits where you're in a cave, but it's still vibrant in a way, you know, even for being in a cave, which is really weird. But I recommend that one. That's definitely one that I think anyone could play.
I can
your
back
grandmother,
that up.
Your 5-year-old, whatever, whoever, anybody.
Bring in the whole not the whole family, but like whoever is already there. I guess let's put it that way.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, another good one. I think Papers, Please is another fun one to try, which might be just one little rung above beginner, but like not really. Yeah. So there's a couple extra buttons I might be throwing at you now. But really, you can play this entire game with just a mouse. There are other mechanics, but it's not necessary. Which makes this one real easy to pick up. So you're playing as a border agent, and it's pixel art again. I might have gravitated towards a lot of pixel art games for my suggestions here. Maybe I like those. But so this one, you play a border agent for an Eastern European country, and you decide who may pass or gets rejected into the country. It starts off easy enough. You have to check passports, make sure they're not expired, and to pick, obviously, that matches the human that's standing in front of you. And as time goes on, more restrictions get implemented to offer a little bit more of a challenge to the player. You may not be able to accept from a certain country, or maybe it starts to become fake, or any of those different little things that they pick up on is wrong. They're not the same height. You've got all of that going on over there. Some characters might even try to bribe you or smuggle goods into the country. And you're the final say. Do you do your job properly? Or do you take all the money to take care of your family and let everyone in the country who's willing to pony up the dough? The voice work is quite amusing. It's really just like a series of like, you know? So it obviously doesn't take itself too seriously, but it does kind of have a deeper story in the background. Like I said, you are taking care of your family at the end of each day. You find out you're being forced to go be the border patrol. You come home, maybe the wife needs some medicine, your mom and dad lives there, your kids. So you are still balancing your money with taking care of them at the end of the day. So you can see why maybe taking those bribes might start to look a little bit more attractive for you. So you got to balance the whole thing. And this is one I think if you wanted to sit down and play it, you could get through in a few hours. It doesn't take that long to get through. And there are different endings. Now, granted, nothing's going to vary greatly from one to the next, really just like your fate and all of this or how well you handled it, again, with the overarching storyline. And I'll just tack on Not Tonight from that because they play almost exactly similarly, but maybe you would rather play a British person during Brexit instead.
Sure.
And check IDs going into clubs as opposed to being a border patrol agent. So that one I think is another really good one. Again, you only need a mouse, but eventually you can get upgrades that like hitting spacebar might let them go through. So it's like stuff to hopefully make you go faster because you do get paid on how many people legally get thrown into the country, right? So there is still an element of wanting to do your job fast but well. And for some reason, I can get addicted to either of those games, Paper, Please, or Not Tonight, for just hours on end.
Right.
Even knowing the story, it keeps your hand-eye coordination really sharp, too. Think of it that way. You're having to look, date, picture, person, book, this, go. Screwed up. If you screw up 3 times, you're out of here, baby. You get pink slipped, man. So, another one from you?
Okay. Well,
I don't want to...
Another one that I've got,
like a couple more,
and I kind of had I thought about this one for a little bit, and I guess it might seem to be an odd choice, but I feel like it's a good choice. Odd because you might wonder, well, why would you choose this particular game? But I think it's a good choice because I have a significant other, and many of you out there may have a similar type of significant other. Now, she does play video games, but I have known those who enjoy watching them, but don't feel like they actually want to engage in them. Like they're there for the story, but don't feel like they can play the game itself. So what if there was a way that they could really engage in a story and actually have the capabilities to play the game and it not be all that complicated? Well, I'm a huge fan of the Ace Attorney series.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
There are plenty of hours, plenty of cases, plenty of games in which they all are sparsed out into where you can engage yourself in a great story, but you're still playing a video game. So you still have to do some things, but it's not complicated. You move from one section to another, you explore, try to find clues, and it literally is just, if you're playing on a DS or something like that, you just touch it with the screen. If you're playing on Switch, might be the same thing. PlayStation, whatever other platforms it's been on, PC.
I think even mobile devices for some of them too.
They're on mobile devices. So you just touch the screen, flip through. So the options are there. And you're going to get a really interesting story. I won't say interesting in the sense that, oh, wow, this is really, this is a thought. It's an outlandish, crazy time that you will have. So don't think that it's going to be
tomfoolery to the nth degree.
Yeah,
but I'm here for it. Yeah.
All the characters are just like way out there. There are a lot of punny names that you just pick up on. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. A lot of great stories that are kind of mixed in there, and then there's some real drama in there that happens from time to time, and especially when a case gets real tense, and it's coming down to the wire. There are certain ones, and I don't want to say what's happened into them, but you get to these points where you think you've got somebody cornered, and then prosecution whips out objection, and then they throw out something. You're like, no, I just heard this son of a bitch, damn it. And then the case
think
just
Law and Order, but like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just insane, but it's fun, and I feel like anybody could really play this. I don't want to say this bad. I don't feel like you have to be super intelligent to figure this stuff out. But
like it's not overly complicated, the gameplay and all that.
Yeah.
But if you're not a gamer, maybe trying to make connections to certain items may not click right away.
Exactly. So you might have to put your thinking cap on a little bit. But I think people who engage in stories like that, I think they're a lot sharper than they realize in those situations. Like they are looking, because Katrina, she does some stuff sometimes where she calls something hours, like as soon as the movie starts or something like that, she's like, that's it. And I'm like, how do you know this? What are you talking about? And she's like, of course it's that. And I'm just like,
She's just in tune to the hints.
yeah. She's like, I already know where this is going. And it's like, but there's still half the movie left. You can't be. And then of course the movie ends. Ha ha! I was right.
Dude, she needs to be making money on that skill. Be like betting people in the theater or something like, hey,
Sure.
$5 says so-and-so's going to bite it, and I'm going to tell you how.
So if you've got a significant other that's like that, they're probably in tune to that kind of thing. So they probably already have figured this out. They could probably find the clues that you need to whip out and be like, well, here's the contradiction. Here's the clue that's going to prove it. It might be a game right up their alley, and they just don't even realize it exists. So Ace Attorney, there are at least 6 games that I'm aware of, plus 2. I was going to say 2. I think there's only 1 spin-off game. I'm going to say at least that. Miles Edgeworth, where you're actually playing prosecution versus defense. But, yeah, I would recommend that. That's definitely a fun
That's
time
a
for me.
really good call. That's definitely a nice, easy one to pick up and lots of fun. That was a good call. And to, I guess, just piggyback off of that, if you end up liking that kind of thing, pretty much look at anything Telltale's done. If you like a choose your own adventure type game where literally all you want to do is lose yourself into a really good story where you're only interrupted once in a while to make 1 of 2, maybe 3 choices on how the story goes, I could recommend pretty much any game that Telltale's put out. Because their Walking Dead series was great, and they've wrapped it up now, so you can actually get all 4 seasons. I saw it finally. The 4th season went on sale again on Steam after all the problems that they had getting that one back. All the way back to Tales of Monkey Island.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some good ones in there. So yeah, look up Telltale also if you just want to lose yourself in a good story. Now, bear in mind, they're really good stories. I have laughed. I have bawled like a baby in Walking Dead and stuff. And just know it's in the same universe, but it's a completely separate story. So if you read the books, if you watch the TV series, you're still getting a completely different experience with this game because it's totally different characters.
Sure.
But another one I picked up was Simulacra. You guys have probably heard me before, but if you've directed this podcast to somebody who's not a gamer who wants to hear about easy games, I think that's another fun one. And I'm selfishly getting you involved in FMV because why not? And this one is nice because you can play this on anything. It's on console. It's on PC. You can play it on your phone. And this is the first time you'll probably hear me recommend the phone over any other way to play this game because it's set up for it. It is a lost phone type game. And it only costs like $5, and 2 of them in the series are actually free, y'all. They're actually free. So there's 2 you can pay for, 2 you're free. There's 4 total. It's a goofy FMV with a horror element to it. In most cases, you're looking through the phone, trying to piece together the mystery of the owner. In the original Simulacra, you're trying to find out if the phone was left to you on purpose through supernatural means or whether its rightful owner is even alive or in this realm. Without spoiling too much of the story, you can go through her Spark account, which is your dating app. They have their own version of Twitter on there and Instagram. You can even talk to her boyfriend, enjoy all of the amazing voice acting, because y'all, it's bad. But it's so bad, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh, that was so cringe, but let me hear it again. So what I mean by FMV sequences, because again, I'm assuming you toss this podcast off to somebody who's not a gamer. Full motion video. So as you're looking at it, it looks exactly like the people on your TV. There's no filter. There's no graphics. There's nothing else to it. Literally, you're watching actors play out these scenes for you, and you can unlock more of the story by going through it. It has conspiracy, supernatural elements, and several different endings. So all you need is a smartphone. And actually, this is the only time you'll ever hear me recommend playing a game on a smartphone over anything else. It's just much more immersive that way, in my opinion. And they're cheap. The first Simulacra, I think you can find for $5. The second one, I think, might still be around 10 because it's still kind of newer. But they have 2 spin-off ones in there, too, which kind of has the same thread of a story, but all different people and circumstances that are completely free.
Can be
So if
free.
you don't like it, who cares? Just uninstall it, right? But yeah, I only had one more. So I didn't want to cut you off if you had another one.
I have one more too. And I'm hoping we didn't go down the same road.
Oh, this would be hilarious if it was.
Because I thought
I know neither of us want to say it first. We're like, who did it?
Yeah. Well, let's find out, because I think if anything, yes. If anything,
Did
yes,
we think of the same
because
one? This is
if
nice.
anything
Awesome.
was more appropriate for
Right.
the world we are in right now for a game to play, would be Stay.
Yep. And this is funny, y'all. We literally thought of the same one because I have my whole little paragraph right here written up.
Yes,
That's great. That's perfect.
Our pals at Abnormals have a great game for this time, because you're isolated. And what better way to be isolated than with a pal on the other end?
Who's also isolated.
That's right. Tell them about it. Tell them about it.
It's fun. Again, another pixel game. Sorry, guys. It didn't even really click with me until I wrote all of it out. I'm like, oh my God, I really did choose a lot of pixel art games. But it looks great. You've heard us talk about it several times on the podcast, I'm sure, over the years. But if you are new to the podcast because you're learning about games, I truly still love this game and how story rich it is. This is the story of Quinn, who, as we were just alluding to, is trapped in a basement, and the only thing that he has in the basement is a computer with a chat room screen, and the only other person on that PC is you. Literally, you are a character in this game. So you can either help or harm Quinn as he struggles to figure out why he's even in the position that he's in, who may have even been involved, trying to even help him remember getting there. It's extremely story rich. Text-based RPG. Again, you only need a mouse, or on console, I'm sure just the controller. I think that's also, it's on every platform that I can think of. Your tablet, your whatever. And so the game, it has a unique element though in its usage of time. And so this is the one thing that really stood out as the most unique. The game, as soon as you start it, time keeps going for Quinn. Even when you turn off the game, the timer is still going for Quinn. So keep that in mind, that the developer did intend this for like maybe 1 or 2 days to sit down to play it in, because you may not have a Quinn to come back to. That's kind of the whole niche. So you could turn it off as soon as you start the game the next day. There's 2 little timers at the bottom, time with Quinn and time away, and it'll show you, and he will let you know what he thought about you being away for so long. There are puzzle elements into it. Actually, that's the main mechanic in it, is talking to Quinn and trying to figure out the puzzles. And I'm still going to have to warn people, though. There is that one brick puzzle in it that you probably want to punch your computer screen over, or whatever you're playing. It's very hard. I'm not going to lie. We've discussed this with the developer too. That they tried so hard to figure out a new way to kind of get it to make more sense. So if it doesn't, I say look up a walkthrough or something like that. Because again, the story itself is so fascinating that I would hate for you to get extremely pissed off over this one puzzle, because it'll happen. I admit, if I didn't have them to talk to when I was playing it, I probably wouldn't have figured it out. Not going to lie. And I'm not puzzle savvy. I'll put that out there too, but when I started seeing most everybody in the entire world with the same issue, or at least those of us who had early copies and were trying to discuss it amongst ourselves, we were all having troubles with it. So that's the only puzzle that I think that you might, but other than that, I think just keep going. Don't rage quit. But yeah, it's great. It's great. And you can find it on any platform now. PC,
So what's stopping you from going to get it? Support these guys. These guys are amazing.
They're great. They really are. And I can't wait to see what they're working on next.
Sure.
Really can't. They're a smaller team though, so I expect it'll be a while to hear about it. But I think those are all really great games that we just mentioned. If you were wanting for some more a casual gaming experience, start with Air. If you're a seasoned gamer and just wants to jump back into it, you probably already know what you like.
Sure.
You probably already do. So that's why I didn't kind of go over it with you guys, because you've probably got games. You might be playing on a PlayStation too. I don't know your life. I don't know how busy you've been in the last 10 years. You know what I mean?
Right.
But check those out. And then maybe if you're listening right now and you've thought of some other really, really cool, easy, casual games that maybe a new gamer could start off on, hit us up. Let us know. You can hit us up there on Twitter at Super Mega Crash. You can send an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. Let us know. What do you think? Did we leave off any really good ones, or were we dumb? Were we dumb? Where you were
I
like,
think we
no,
did
those
all right.
games are too hard. I don't think you're right when you say that, but you could absolutely send us an email if you like and let us know. I will tell you you're wrong, but let's see. Let's see.
Yeah,
let's
let's
fight
see.
about it.
Let's fight.
Let's fight about it. Another good game. Any fighting game. No. But yeah, that is our show, guys. You can hit us up, like we were just saying, there on Twitter, or send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram to view our weekly icon art. You can also support the show by liking, leaving reviews on your preferred platform, and even going to patreon.com/pencil and paper productions and chucking a buck. Maybe see those animations before they get changed. See what it started off as, guys. Be the first to see it. You can also tell your friends to find us for Super Mega Crash Brothers on Apple Podcast, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, and even youtube.com/pencil paper productions. And thank you for listening. I am Lacey Finley.
And I am Stephen White.
And you can join us again next time, Super Mega Crash siblings. But until then,
Game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.